Well, I'm 100% sure, because I forgot, the city had sent me a letter saying that, you know, that with the investigating policemen, that it's, you know, like they're like basically they giving them permission to hack my shit. And now I understand why everybody else's computer went off on the block, because they think they're smart. But when the police here, you know, the investigative police here, when they go into your computer, they fuck everything up. Your phone don't ring, none ring. I guess they put like, you know, like they put like something on my phone that's to my phone. Now, if you like personally, you know, like back, you know, my dad was drafted back in the day in the draft. I guess they're investigators, but they went out the intelligence. If they had the intelligence, they would have been investigating how to do their work properly, so make sure they do the paperwork right, and make sure that the city, you know, have one of the representatives down there when the city's supposed to be doing the budget, make sure that they're putting their money in their retirement like they're supposed to, which they weren't, I do believe, and, you know, and taking care of their health, which they weren't. And so, you know, but you know what I mean, that, and like, and plus, like, I'm not the only one that has a problem with them. We have a history of the police across the board doing some bogus ass policing just to harass. And believe me, they do bring up your blood pressure, because you know, and this lady, I'm like, you the ignorant ass bitch. You know, because I'm trying to be sociable anyway. I'm out and like the way I am, like, which surprised them, being sociable means I'll answer a question. They can't answer a question, and if they do answer a question, it's the same propaganda you'll hear everywhere. So I get, like me, if you don't watch TV and you listen to them, you can recognize that they all say the same exact thing. And here, oh, that's another thing. And here, right, their biggest thing is, I guess they thought, like, oh, well, she must have some type of sexually transmitted disease, because they got it really bad over here. The investigative police, from what I heard, a couple of girls, let's see, I shouldn't name names, but, let's see, was it Jackie, Lucille? Oh, what was that on? Well, not so much. Well, anyway, Rose and Lucille, Jackie, Marie. So it's like, now, two of them I haven't seen in a while, and one of them went to Atlanta, Georgia. Well, anyway, they have HIV really bad, and really other sexually transmitted diseases. So here's what the undercover cops worry about. You need dick. That was a little boy who yelled at me at the store. I never did like this little boy. And then when I seen his mom, this is when she was still walking, she's like a crazy bitch, you know, all coked up, and he brings his mom there like. Now I was like, I looked at her and I was like, you just been whooping on that boy and getting your ass whooped. You know, you can tell when a female gets their ass whooped too much, they beat their kid too. You know. But anyway, the police department across the board, I've been in a lot of cities. Memphis by far has some of the most worst. You know what I'm saying? And they're so proud of themselves, this investigating thing that's fucking with me. Alright, they started the fucking gang. I mean, it's been my experience, because like when I was in junior high school, the police, you know, undercover police, they brought them into school, you know, because they were changing over. So there's a big change that happened. Like I guess it was between 72 and 74 when there was an insurrection. When a bunch of Russians, you know, came down that, you know, they were going to schools with us and anything. But I guess. You're going to see why Russia is in the situation they're in. You know, and they they was like through Asia mafia, and Italian mafia came down in the sex industry, and really they're just a bunch of cons, you know, 3 or 4 generations. Some of the kids were orphaned, and they was like, you know, trained and geared. And let me tell you, the white guys is going crazy over these Russian little ladies, and a lot of them don't even know what Russia is, because those girls was hot, you know. Russia is on fire. It's burning, 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 burning. You know, they have some really nasty diseases from their sex industry, and you know, and mostly with the young girls and the old guys, they you know, that they go, like, I guess like most of these girls have some type of sexually transmitted disease within, you know, some nasty, long-lasting sexually transmitted disease, you know, after like 2 months or whatever. But anyway, so, and that's at the time when when they started, a lot of things changed, and then slowly, I guess in '78, marijuana became illegal, and everybody's like, well, cocaine could be out of your system in 3 days, so, and you couldn't find any marijuana for a while. It dried up. All the people that was selling marijuana, you know, I guess it took them about a day to round it up. Well, anyway, here they're justifying like being in this area is like they were studying this gang for a whole year. These guys graduated, I think, the ones that I know is around here from, what was it, like in 1999 from Mitchell High, 1998, 1999, 2000. Those, I know those are almost all those kids. They came out of the school, graduated, you know, marched down there and got their hat. Not one of them did anything but started selling drugs. There might have been one or, no, I don't think there was 1 or 2 of them in this neighborhood that slipped through the cracks. So, anyway, so the police department followed my ass around, you know, and like I pointed out to the lady, I'm like, you know, she goes, as I just wanted to see her, I read that thing, and she goes, oh, you know, she didn't think straight up, like, you know, like, because it had a slide about Ebola, and I'm like, I'm looking at her, and I'm trying to walk her through it to see where her logic is, you know, and she just looking at me side eyes like, can I do right? I'm like, okay. I don't know why, you know, but we have a problem, and we have a problem with our police department across the board. And the first thing is that they're training. Because if you gotta fuck with me for 2, well, anyway, they did a whole year. They busted these guys. They had like $6,000 worth of heroin and crack. And what's really fucked up is like, no, them motherfuckers, you know, because it's, I don't know the name of gangs. I don't mess with them. I know, I might know the gang mom and grandma, but I didn't know. I don't know. You know, like, and I guess like that's where the cops was like saying they were a gang and shit. And I don't think our tax money should. And that's what they think. Their mentality is they a gang. Well, I don't know from gang or shit like that, you know, whatever. Most of the people I knew in New York that was from whatever thought they was gangs, that was like my parents' age. The type of gangs they was belong to, well, they would probably call them a gang today, but it'd be like the, you know, union. You know, they was very organized, and the police are very disorganized. And there's no intelligence behind their investigation. It's purely let's harass and teach this person to disrespect the police department and fully hate the motherfucker. You know, and plus, like, all the ones I got tired with that lady when she sat down. I was like, I was ready to sit down, and here this bitch was. From like, and the same other, and you can tell, you should just ask them a few questions that, well, it only helps if you haven't been watching TV. because they say the same shit, you know, and they don't finish a sentence because they're ashamed. Like, you know, the black community, the black police, and the black people in our community, they're ashamed. They've been taught to be ashamed. And she's, oh yeah, this is what she want. I think she want to talk about teen pregnancy. And I'm like, well, if it was a right and just, we wouldn't have teen pregnancy. That's just a bunch of propaganda bullshit, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why they could only fault the woman each time, because every time you turn around, it's some 35-year-old guy, or 20-some-year-old guy, or 40-some-year-old guy that's not only got that one girl pregnant, but he has, like, we got some cases here. We got men, they got 30 different children, 24 different children. Those are professional pedophiles, you know, because each time, you know what I mean. But as long as, you know what I'm saying, as long as you fought the victim, because I know one day I will fuck the bitch up because she ain't letting me know who she is. Because I'm thinking she is the type of motherfucker that it wouldn't take long for her to have a real motherfucking problem for me. And with me, it wouldn't be long for me to tell her, well, you got a fucking problem, get the fuck out of my face. And those bitches never do, so you gotta escort them. And I won't tell you how to do it, but it always works, because, you know, they're, anyway. But anyway, so we have a police department that took a whole year of some guys that basically, from what I understand, when they're coming in with the U.S. Marshals throat, and I didn't even know they had a heroin as much. I didn't even know we were supposed to be scared of them when they had them on the news. They're like, ooh, so. I don't know. And they're talking about Walker Home area, but the address they use, they don't. It is west. I forgot what they call it, but it's not called over here. But anyway, you can see the same shit, like how Baltimore looks, except for this is like cities like almost Memphis is all black except for a few white people they pumped in. Like I was in Germantown, I was like, oh, this is a nice area, and they're like, oh yeah, this is the white area, you know, gay community and everything. Well, anyway, they're doctors, and over here, I stopped going to the other doctors over here because, you know, the ones where the police, you know, like the Christian Community Center, you know, I can't even go there, please, because like because I told the lab lady, you know, not to do it. I wanted to show her how to do it, but then I found out ignorant people do not want to learn something different than what the first way they learned, or in some cases, learn that, you know what I'm saying, when a person's like, let's do it this way, it ain't gonna hurt me. A bitch, you know, try to hurt me, you know what I'm saying? They got a real motherfucking problem with people that get whooped. That's the only thing they understand is to give pain, but they fucking cannot. It's hard for them to continuing their education even in that field they're in. You know, they just get stagnated, and I see that problem with the police. It's like they need to fix the police department, because fucking with me is fuck them right out of their pension and their health care. You know, and I'm just using me as an example of the whole picture, because if they was doing good policemen, I see why they don't want the cameras. Yeah, I think in a way the price, you know, is overinflated whenever it has to be a state or city or military. It's, you know, the people always overinflate the prices. Well, anyway, you know what? We definitely do need to have to do something about our police department, you know, across the board, because the war on drugs has been a complete failure, and all we've done with this stupid thing is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she gonna wonder where I get my fucking shoes from. And I hate to have to explain to them that in a capitalist society such as ours, we don't walk around barefoot, and we don't walk around naked. So, and even if we were cave people, being a mammal, important thing is food, shelter, and clothing. And this is something investigators should know basics, and that should be stuff that you would dismiss as normal. But anyway, I don't even try to help the motherfucker get stupider. But that would be a step up from ignorance, because stupid will then learn. But anyway, she's gonna tell me something about, I'm like, well, if you really have a problem with teen pregnancy, why don't you have them go to school year round? Why don't you have them graduate from high school at 14, and they can start working at 15 and have their kids and start having their kids at 15? I'm saying I don't see a problem with teenage at the same age having relationships. It's when those guys are 20 or 30 years older. You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking at her, I'm like, but if you always want to blame the female and punish the female and keep doing the same shit, then, it keeps the same thing going, But she's just looking at me because that's not the propaganda in the school. It's like, oh, well, these pregnant, what about these pregnant teenagers? It's like, it's a natural human action. What's not natural is that, like a few guys, I told this one guy, I said, I feel sorry for your daughter and your granddaughter, and I'm like, did you ask me what was wrong with your daughter? I'll tell you, he's what's wrong with his daughter, because he's a fucking pervert. Because I know how the way he talks to me, and the main thing about, and the weird fucked up thing about it, is he had did coke so many years that when I did date him in 1998, and then he followed me in 1999, and then I was here in Memphis, and I went to Mississippi where I was teaching that year. Which I hate teaching. And it's not the kids actually learn. It's really the kids are really easy. It's the politics behind it. I think really they don't want the kids to learn, and I don't know. As bad as our society is, as oppressed as we have, and I think the school system has molded in such a way that that by the time, like, I know for me, I really didn't care about the United States. I really didn't care about nobody, and that's the other thing is I don't really care about these fucking policemen as an individual, because as an individual, they are some roguish, trifling, folks. At least in the behavior that they project on me. It's not anything I would ever be around. And they definitely, I could go if I go someplace social, I don't think, if I go, well, I know one thing, if I do go to New York, I don't think they could fit their big toe in. But like, so they hack your computer, and then they try to hold that shit up to you, Not only when they're hacking the computer, they don't hack the White House and everything else, trying to, because you get an email from them instead of using their common sense. Anyway. We need to fix our fucking police department, and we definitely need to fix it in the South, and especially where you have a majority. Because I know in Holly Springs, Mississippi, basically the police department with their money, they was passing out money too. Anyway, the U.S. Marshal brings this shit in, unless it's a rival type of zoning thing. And like most of it, like the heroin, like it ain't coming up through Mexico. Most of it that from what I, just from seeing and hearing and living in this motherfucking world, most of it I see it coming up through like from Turkey, like and they go like a little part of Russia and come down like through this part of Russia, go through the Bering Strait to like Alaska. Come down from Alaska. Like once they get in Alaska, pretty much they can rent a car or a plane or just drive straight down. And just really pass right over the border. Just as long as you got a passport, whatever, that's correct. And they let whites in. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're, even though like most of them is Muslim, but if they, as long as they light skinned and don't wear the gar and clean shave, you can, what I'm saying. And even if they are, some of them, because you gotta understand, they try to tell you that all the, Russia. Well, anyway, Russia got the Asian African part of Russia. So yeah, you do have like a lot of blonde hair and blue eyes, but you also have, you know, whatever they are from. Anyway, they got sort of a melting pot up there of little Asian and little, you know, African and, you know, Caucasian mix. You know, Russia's not as large as it used to be. But anyway, so that's why a lot of times they have you looking down at the border of South America. South America, they're just trying to do it like they did Africa. And you see how, you know, and they devastated Africa. Almost all the animals you know, that are extinct, you know, the culture's extinct, the animals are extinct. Anyway, so we have a police department that is more geared to harassing and destroying our community, one person at a time. And you can see that since I would say 1978, that we've been having these peaks of high crime levels, with more and more mass killing ever since the war on drugs has started, and when they got the tough on, you know, the tough love and the tough on all this shit. Basically, what it has done is not rehabilitate the children that they go to juvenile, not rehabilitate the adults here. They all come out of prison, do a few years in prison. They're all swollen up with tattoos all over them. And in the jail with their tattooing, they're getting hepatitis, really bad. So anyway, they come out with HIV, hepatitis, and I think they got their tuberculosis pretty much under control. But they used to have a super TB bug, really bad. So basically, what they're doing is in the jail and in the prison, if they know it or not, is sending people out that with highly infected diseases and attitude of what I find very dangerous is a defeated attitude. And what's dangerous about it is those are the ones when like somebody like me, it's like they'll ask like, how do you do something, and I'll explain it to them. See, I'm with that police woman up there. I'm not ashamed of who I am, so it's very easy to answer the question. But I'm not going along with I think all the teenagers, it's the teenager female problems, the reason why. No, it's too many, y'all, everybody says the same thing, you know. I think that maybe y'all need to redirect on how you want to be Christians too. Do you want to be Christians that every time we turn around, you know, coming off as a dope buying hypocrite, mama got, anyway, you know, it's who you bring in, and if the mama thinks she can't go without a man, and she just brings any man in. So anyway, but back to the police department. I think that I probably have to get up and get around, and I hope they fucking follow me. Well, they can follow me, and I'll lead you to the gates of hell. But I'm sorry. That's where I'm Jewish. That's where I'd rather go on the Jewish side. Me and Jesus is like this on that account. Y'all go to hell by yourself, police department in Memphis. And trust me, your policies that you're following, this, you know, the same as Baltimore, the same as New York, and the same across the board, is that the policing is not helping the United States because our court systems is screwed up. And I have to admit that prosecutor in Baltimore, she's fucking smart, and she's cute as a button, and you know, and she's right. She's a lawyer, and like I know like a lot of lawyers that's, you know, like all gun ho, we're supposed to be prosecuted. You know, eventually you end up getting debarred because you're not doing, you know, what you're supposed to do, you know. Especially like if you stay in that state or that little county and you're prosecutor, yeah. But if you go to another state or another, anyway, not necessarily. Usually what happens is the policeman usually retires, or he ends up, you know, like, you know, whatever happens to this policeman in 20 years, and they end up just probably getting debarred. Anyway, so, but she's smart, as long as, you know, you can tell that she actually studied, and she, you know, because, like, it's a lot of times we have the, there for a while in our colleges has been ripping us off, you know. But anyway, you know, and I'm with everybody else. I don't like the police shooting people down in the streets for no reason. And I know from my own experience, the harassing has nothing to do with the police department. That's why the police department is going broke, because you know, because you know, like, well, like one of the policemen, like, we play games, or somebody they play games, or who's playing games. I'm like, you know what? That's why they have pre-kindergarten and kindergarten. So by the time you get 7 or 8 years old, you'll have all that playing games out of the way, and then you can come and deal with the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation for Memphis policemen, they were so fucking busy harassing somebody like me for 3 fucking years that they didn't even pay attention to the grown-up shit. You know, like, you know, what, you know, who's paying you, and how are you getting paid? I know one thing, you don't have your medical benefits, and you don't have, and the city, your mayor, W.C. Warren, whatever, he hasn't been putting money into your retirement. But that's nothing that you have to worry about. You got to worry about, you know, running up to somebody's doctor's office, or taking a whole year, you know, to find out. Now, I didn't know they were a gang, but I knew they sold drugs, and I found that out when, like, the first time I walked up to, you know what I'm saying. Like I said, I might not know exactly all them, but I bet you, you know, I know. Anyway, so I guess it took me about 15 minutes to figure out who, what, where when I first showed up here. That it took them a year. So, and they had to make a big show out of it. Then they all looking all the way, all hurt and everything. Well, you're going to be hurt worse because you ain't paying attention to the bottom line, and this is a capitalist society. And if you got to use your money to clothe, feed, and house yourself, maybe you need to get a little bit more fucking smarter and handle your business before you try to fuck up everybody else's business. So, what I have for the policemen is fuck you, and fuck your tiresome, your stupidity investigation that's just costing me money to replace the shit you fuck up. And I know you do it on purpose, but you know what? It's a capitalist society, and they keep printing the money, and you motherfuckers keep sucking dick. Fuck off.